Welcome to your yoga class. My name is Sarah. I'm going to lead you through a yin yang sequence today. The first half of the class is going to be yang, heat building, what we call in the yoga world tapas. I'm going to lead you through quite a strong sequence with twists and turns and standing poses to get your heart rate moving, to lengthen and strengthen all the tissues in your body. And then we're going to come down to the floor to long held poses, yin poses, where you'll be stretching and compressing, particularly around the hips and the lower back and the legs. I'm also going to weave in some teachings of the seventh chakra, the Sahasrara Chakra, the Crown Chakra. Some lovely learning to be gleaned from this chakra. I'll be doing that more in the yin, the second half of our class, where we have more time for you to be more receptive and to listen. So let's begin with the yang. Please begin in a bent knee, downward facing dog. Placing your hands at the front of the mat, index fingers pointing forwards. Tuck your toes under, lift up your knees, and do keep them bent. You might be tempted to straighten them. Keep them bent so that you can really stretch and lengthen your spine. Check that your feet are at least hip width apart. And look forwards at your hands and make sure that they are outer shoulder width apart. Now, as you lift up your sitting bones and press in your lower back ribs, try and keep this curve you've made in your lower back and straighten your legs, stretching your hamstrings and your calves and your heels. Lift your sitting bones up to the ceiling as you press your heels down. Your heels don't have to touch the floor, but they're pressing towards that. Now walk your hands back towards your feet, coming to Uttanasana, standing forward fold. Knees bent if that needs to happen. Press your fingers down and let your head hang. I usually find, even though I can do this pose with pretty much straight legs, bending the knees for the first few is nice. Keep bringing your navel up and towards your spine so your lower abdominal muscles engage. Then look down the mat, raise your head, and walk your hands slowly back into down dog, pressing your heels down. Take your time, be very cat-like when you do this. Make sure you get the full length of your down dog and your index fingers are pointing forwards, hands nice and wide apart. Even turn your inner elbow creases up towards the ceiling just before you then press your chest back towards your thighs. We're beginning slowly. We are coming to yang, to strength, to sweating, to moving. But I want you to begin slowly to help you cultivate a mental focus, an awareness of what your body is doing here. The Sahasrara Chakra is very much to do with knowledge, awareness, insight. So try and really keep all of your thoughts and your focus here with yourself on your mat, noticing your breath, really feeling and being aware of what your body is doing throughout this sequence today. Come to child's pose. Bring your knees down, big toes touch side by side. Walk your hands forward, stretch your arms straight, and bring your forehead to the floor. Just a few breaths here, 3 to 5 breaths. Notice when you inhale how your chest expands, and when you exhale, that contraction as you press all the air out of your body, moving your diaphragm up towards your heart. Now raise your head and walk your hands all the way back towards your knees. Come up into Vajrasana, kneeling. Sit onto your heels and bring your arms out to the sides. Turn your palms up. Now rotate your chest to the right, coming into a twist. Left hand forward, right hand back. And really cinch your waist. Bring your inner ribs in towards each other so you feel your abdominal muscles really tone, helping you twist around that central axis of your spine. Come back to center and then go to the other side. Press your hands away from each other. See if you can move that left hand back a little bit more. As you do this, keep scooping your navel in and press your tailbone down towards your heels. Come back to center. Turn your palms down. Bring your hands ahead of you and go into downward facing dog. Again, keep cinching your waist. Scoop your navel into your spine. Press your hands towards the front of the mat so that you can bear more weight onto your legs. Bend your knees and look forward and either walk or step your right foot and then your left foot to the top of the mat. Raise your chest and look forwards for Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold to Uttanasana. Again, bent knees, whenever you do this pose is fine. Coming to standing. Do bend your knees, bring your arms out to the side, reach up, stretch up, bring your hands together, and then down to your heart for Anjali Mudra. 3 sun salutations with some variations here. Inhale, bring your arms all the way up. As you exhale, fold, hands to the side, touch the floor, Uttanasana. Inhale, raise your chest, look forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, walk back into plank. Bring your feet together in plank. Push the floor away with your hands and scoop your belly. Raise your right foot off the floor 1 centimeter. Keep cinching your waist. Bring the foot down. Raise your left foot up again, just 1 centimeter. It's less than you think. Bring it down. Come halfway down the push-up. Bring your knees to the floor. Lower your chest just 1 or 2 centimeters and pause. Press your shoulders towards your knees for Chaturanga Dandasana. Then Cobra. Bring your pubic bone down, straighten your legs and curl up. Put a little movement into this Cobra. I want you to just turn your chest to the right. Scoop the left shoulder under. Come back to center. Turn your chest to the left. Come back to center, raise your Cobra, a little bit higher, a little bit more tapas, a bit more heat. Press your hands back towards your knees. And then down dog, tuck your toes under, push the floor away, lift up and press back. Okay, we're not staying here. Bend your knees, look forward, and either walk or step your left foot and then your right foot to the top of the mat. Raise your chest for Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold to Uttanasana. To stand, bend your knees, arms out to the side, look up, reach up, bring your hands together, press up, and then bring your hands to your heart, Anjali Mudra. Inhale, arms out to the side. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, raise your chest, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, walk back into plank. Again, we're going to hold this, building heat in plank, the ideal pose for strengthening pretty much every muscle in the body, especially the front body. This time, feet together. Keep both hands on the floor throughout this pose and come onto the outside edge, the little toe edge of your left foot. Twisted plank. Pick your hips up away from the floor. Pick the left side waist up away from the floor. Come back to a normal plank, and then right edge, right foot. Cinch the waist up away from the floor. Push both of your hands down. Don't let your head drop. Keep your face up. Come back into normal plank. Chaturanga Dandasana, half down the push-up. Bring your knees to the floor. Come part way down and pause. Keep bringing your navel up to your spine. Press your tailbone down to the floor. Cobra. Straighten your legs, point your toes, place your pubic bone, come up. Again, the side bends, the twists. Turn to the left, come back to center, turn to the right, come back to center, downward facing dog. A little bit different here as well. Bring your feet together again if they moved apart, and raise your right leg behind you for 3-legged dog. Bring your right thigh to your chest and your knee to your nose as you stack your shoulders over your wrist. Go back into 3-legged dog, push with both heels. Again, knee to nose. Back to 3-legged dog. And then into normal dog, so lower the right leg. Inhale, raise the left leg. Knee to nose, chest to thigh.
Back to three-legged dog. Strengthen and squeeze both legs. Knee to nose again. Pause a little longer, bring the foot higher. Go back to three-legged dog. Bring the leg down. Put a little bend in your knees and look forward. Step your right leg and then your left to the top of the mat. Raise your chest, look up. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Coming to standing, bend your knees or straight legs if you can. Come all the way up, bring your hands together and down to your heart. One more. Inhale, bring your arms up. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, raise your chest, look forward. Exhale, go back into plank. Bring your feet together. Inhale, raise the right leg 1 centimeter. Exhale, bring it down. Inhale, raise the left leg 1 centimeter. Exhale, bring it down. Keep both hands on the floor, outside edge of the left foot, coming into the twist. Come back up to center. Twist to the other side, cinch the waist up. Come back to center. Chaturanga, straight legs if you can with this one. Move your legs forward, otherwise bring your knees down to the floor. Chaturanga Dandasana. Coming into Cobra, lower your thighs and pubic bones, straighten your legs. And then go back to downward facing dog, lift up, press back. Bring your 2 feet together. Inhale, raise the right leg for three-legged dog. Straight arms. Exhale, bring your knee towards your nose, bring the leg higher, thigh to chest. This time, step the foot forward in between your hands. Keep the back leg straight. Bring your arms out to the side. Coming up, reach up, stretch up, Crescent Warrior. Straighten your back leg. Maybe even look up at your hands. And if you've got that bit more energy, bring your hands together and pierce the ceiling. A variation here of Vajrasana 1, Warrior 1. Now look forward, separate your hands, touch down, and step back again into downward facing dog. Bring your feet together. Inhale, raise the left leg. Exhale, bring your knee to your nose. Stay here, hover, rock your chest forward, and then step your foot in between your hands. Use your hand to help you if you need to. Straighten the back leg, arms up, Crescent Warrior. Again, option to look up, bring your hands together, pierce the ceiling. Warrior 1 variation. The variation being that your back heel is off the floor. Separate your hands and look forward, touch down. Step back into downward facing dog. Separate your feet. Lift your sitting bones. Make this a good dog, a good Adho Mukha Svanasana. Let your head hang. And put a bend in your knees and look forward. And step your left foot, then your right foot, or just walk forwards to the top of the mat. Raise your chest, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold to Uttanasana. Come to standing, bend your knees, bring your arms all the way up. Bring your hands together and down to your heart, and bring your feet together. Bring your hands down by your sides. Tadasana. Bring your hands into your heart for Anjani Mudra. And bend both of your knees, coming into chair pose. Twisting to your right, turn your chest to the right, bringing your left ribs under. Then bring your left elbow to the outside of your right thigh, but don't make contact. Spin your fingers to your throat. Twist a little bit more. Try not to move your torso over to the right. So say it's central over the center of your thighs. Then bring your elbow either on top of the thigh or to the outside of the thigh if you've got a bit more reach. Coming into twisted child's pose. Maybe twist a little bit more. Twisted chair pose. Bring your navel into your spine. Press your shoulders towards your tailbone. Now come back to center. Chest parallel to the floor. Inhale here. As you exhale, right elbow hovers to the outside of your left thigh, or just on top of the left thigh, but don't make contact. Now make contact. Spin your fingers towards your throat and twist a little more. 3, 2, 1. Now look down, separate your hands, touch down either sides of your feet, and walk back into downward facing dog. Bring your feet together in down dog. And raise your right leg behind you for three-legged dog. Push long with both heels. Squeeze both legs and both arms strong. Now step your right foot forward in between your hands. Squeeze the back knee straight. Bring your arms out to the side and all the way up. Now bring your hands halfway down with the palms facing up. Press your hands away from each other and twist to the right. Bring your hands into your heart. Bring your left elbow to the outside of the right knee, but don't make contact. Now make contact. Draw your shoulders towards your back foot. Squeeze your legs strong. Now slowly bring your back knee down to the floor. Coming now into Anjani Asana, take your elbow off your thigh. Come into Anjani Asana with your hands to heart center. Press your front foot to your back knee. Then stretch your arms straight up. Option here to look at your hands and bring them together as you pierce the ceiling and perhaps come into a stronger back bend as you drag your front foot to your back knee, keeping the foot in place. Squeeze your bottom. And then look down, touch down, and go back to downward facing dog. Pick up the back knee and step back. Take a few moments here. Down dog now feels like more of a recovery pose. Use this time to breathe deeply and let your heart rate soften. Now bring your feet together. Inhale, raise your left leg. Make this a good three-legged dog. Sometimes this is considered a sort of half-deserving pose. Make it good. Squeeze your bottom. Press your heels away from each other. Away from the center of your body. Now bring your knee to your nose. Round your back, step your foot in between your hands. Bring your arms out to the side, come up into Crescent Warrior. Look forwards. Now bring your hands halfway down, palms facing up, twist to your left. Press your hands away from each other. Twist a little more. Try not to lean forwards. Bring your hands into heart center. And then as you twist a little more, descend the right ribs. Again, you're hovering the elbow either above the thigh or over to the left a bit more. Then make contact. Twist a little more, using the leverage of the elbow in contact with the thigh to turn a little bit more around your spine. Now lower the back knee slowly. Then from here, come into Anjani Asana. Keep your hands in heart center. Turn your chest square to the front of your mat. Now reach your arms up. Stay like this, perhaps descend a little more. Keep dragging the back knee forwards, or change the pose by looking up at your hands. Bring your palms together to Urdhva Namaskar. Pierce the ceiling, keep pressing the front foot back, and then possibly coming into a deeper back bend. Following the feedback your body is giving you. If you're really tired, just bring your hands onto your hips. Don't abandon the sequence because things are getting tricky. Just find ways to modify. Now separate your hands and look forward if they are up. Slowly touch down and go back to downward facing dog. One more little Vinyasa krama here before we slow things and quiet things down in Yin. Bring your feet together again. Inhale, raise your right leg behind you. As you exhale, step the foot straight in between your hands. A little bit of speed. Bring the back heel down, preparing for Warrior Two. Come into Warrior Two. Bring the left arm up, stretch it up to the ceiling, bring the right arm up. Stretch your hands away from each other, palms facing down now, and not twisting. So move the left ribs back, making sure that means that the right knee still points forward. You can see your right big toenail. Side angle pose. Bend the right elbow, turn the palm up, turn the back palm up, and then rainbow that left arm over your ear. Don't descend and drop the right ribs. Keep light in the right side of the body. Feel free to stay with this version of Parsvakonasana or bring your fingertips to the outside of your right heel, deepening the pose.
Coming into half moon, bring your top hand onto your hip, look down, step the back foot forward. Bring the right fingertips ahead of the right little toe, and then pick up that back leg. Straighten your legs as much as you can, turn your chest and your belly to the left, and then reach that top hand up, coming to Ardha Chandrasana. Look down. If your balance is good, look to the left. If your balance is feeling really good, look up at your top hand. Coming back into Warrior Two, try and keep that top hand as it is. Bend the right knee, lower your right ribs onto your right thigh, and take a very light step back as you bring the right arm up. Back to Vajrasana 2. That takes practice. That's a difficult transition. Now come into downward facing dog, pick up the back heel, rainbow back over again, and step back. Bring your feet together. Inhale the left leg up behind you. And as you exhale, step it forward in between your hands. Bring the back heel down. Warrior Two on your left side. Vajrasana 2. Stretch your hands straight. Lengthen your arms and soften your shoulders. Straighten your back leg as you possibly bend that left knee a little bit more, creating heat in this thigh. Side angle pose. Bend the left elbow again, a very light touch as you rest it on the leg. Turn the back palm up. Bring that that right arm over your ear. Maybe turn your chest up a little bit more towards the ceiling. Option here to bring the fingertips down to the floor if you haven't already, to the outside of the heel. Keep raising that left side waist away from your left thigh, like you were doing in side plank. Half moon. Bring that top hand onto your hip, step the back foot forward. If you've got a wall in the way, move back. Left fingertips onto the floor, about a torso length away from your little toe. Squeeze your legs as straight and as strong as you can. Reach the top hand up. Turn your chest, maybe turn your gaze. Keep breathing deeply. Ardha Chandrasana is a lovely pose. Lots of strength here. Squeeze your bottom. Now we're going to do that step back to Warrior Two. Again, try and keep your arms in this plane. Bend the left knee, just send the left ribs onto your left thigh. Step back lightly. Warrior Two. Maybe lengthen your stance, move your feet a bit further away from each other. Then downward facing dog. Touch down, step back. Good. Now we've built a lot of heat here, a lot of yang work. The energy, the prana is moving around your body. Your heart rate is up. You're warm, you're sweating. Now we're going to slow things down. In order to help open up the nadis, decompress, or compress and then decompress the nadis so that the fluidity of the prana, of the energy, moving around your body can increase. It has already increased in its flow in this yang sequence, but with yin, we're going to help it perhaps flow with more strength. So bring your knees down to the floor. So not just speed, but strength and steadiness. Sit onto your heels. The first yin pose is going to be a very deep back bend. So we're going to do Sphinx. You have an option here with your blanket to increase or decrease the intensity of this back bend as we hold it for 3 minutes. So if you're worried about your lower back and you know that it's a little bit glitchy, it's got some injuries, or you're recovering from injuries, put the towel folded in the center of your mat and bring your pelvis, your pubic bone onto it as you bring your elbows down, coming into the basic shape of Sphinx. If your lower back is nice and healthy and you're not worried about it, you can either have no props at all, or you can increase the intensity and the extension by bringing the prop underneath your elbows, elevating your chest and your upper body, thereby increasing the curve in your lower back. I'm not going to use anything. I'm going to set the timer now And I'll take a little bit off it because I think you're very possibly already in Sphinx. Whatever you're doing, widen your feet a little bit more away from each other. Then be aware of your feet here, toenails on the floor, and soften them. With your hands, I recommend interlacing your fingers softly. Don't make tight fists, just park your fingers and rest your hands on the floor. If you don't like that, then just separate your hands, make loose fists, and try and keep them really still. And as you did with your feet, really relax them. Now be aware of your legs, soften your thighs, soften the backs of your legs, soften all around your pelvis and your glutes. Be aware of your forearms and your shoulders. Try not to slump down, as well as try not to be too upright like a sergeant major. Find a place in the middle that you can hold. Now bring your awareness to your lower back. This is the real target of this Yin pose. And try and really soften it and drop it down a little more towards the floor. Releasing all the muscles of your body is what we try and do in Yin as best we can. You might feel like you do need to slightly engage, perhaps around your glutes, maybe a little bit in your abdominal area to protect the lower back. But you might find over time, and we're about halfway through now, that you can soften down a little bit more. And as you stay here for about another minute, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the Sahasrara Chakra, this either white or violet color chakra that resides right at the top of your head. This is where we make the spiritual connection to God or to your higher power or the universe and gain spiritual understanding. So the message behind the Crown Chakra is that we are spiritual beings, and by living in the now, we become co-creators of our lives. It links us to the highest guidance and influences spiritual will, inspiration, idealism, and higher knowledge. So a person with a balanced and healthy crown chakra has increased awareness of the world and of the self, and takes responsibility as they empower and support those around them. Now, before I talk more on that, let's change our Yin pose into a supine twist. So from here, bring your hands underneath your shoulders and flip yourself over so that you're lying on your back. If you've got a ponytail in, now's a good time to loosen it or completely take it out. Bend your knees and bring your feet together. Then pick your bottom up and move it a good 5 to 8 centimeters, maybe even more, over to the right, so that when you now bring your knees down to the left towards the floor, you feel like your pelvis is in line with your spine and your nose. So you might even need to move your bottom a little bit more over to the right. This is also a good time to reach around for your towel, fold it nicely, and place it so that your left thigh can rest down on it. Now, if you place the towel or the blanket close to your body, close to your hip, you're going to get more elevation, you're going to get more support, your knees will be higher. So if you're a little bit tight here, bring the blanket closer in. If your lower back is quite open and flexible, you can move the towel closer to your knees so you get some support but not too much. And there is still some reaching being done by your legs. You're not being propped up too much. This isn't restorative yoga where you're really propped up and held and supported. In Yin, you're really stretching. So the blanket is there, but only just. Turn your palms up. And press your left elbow down so you can actually pick up the back left ribs and move them a little more to the left. And that will bring your right shoulder blade more down to the floor. If you're not feeling much of a stretch in your hips or your lower back, you can increase this stretch by bringing your knees up enough that you can then pick up the right leg and cross it over the left, and then bring both legs back down. Maybe move your feet more over to the right. Whatever you're doing, try and soften. So let your elbows slightly bend, let your fingers curl. Relax your shoulders and all around your neck and upper back. Soften the mask of your face. Now bring your awareness into your lower body. Let your abdominal muscles soften. Release around the lower right back. This is our main target here, the lower right back, and down the outside of the right thigh and the right buttocks. Try and release and soften down to gravity with your legs and your feet as you let yourself be completely twisted in a relaxed way. Very different to the twists that we were doing in that first half of our sequence, where we were being ambitious and really reaching for the pose in a hot and sweaty way. Here now in Yin, we're much more passive and relaxed. Not necessarily easier. There's a lot more of a mental focus going on in Yin, where you're still. It would be so easy to run away from the discomfort and come out of the pose. But this is a mature practice. Stay a while and let yourself be very aware of what's going on in your body. And connecting again with this Sahasrara Chakra of knowledge, insight, connecting with your body, remembering that your body is part of, made up of everything in the universe. Connecting with your body helps you to connect to everything. Soften a little bit more. We've got about half a minute more in this pose. If you want to turn your head to the right, feel free. If you want to just stay still, then do. Notice how you respond to those moments of silence when you're not getting my support. Be more independent. Coming out of this side, push your feet down. Take your time. This is quite a big release. Bring your knees up. If you cross the right leg, uncross it. Shift your pelvis back to center. Reach around for your blanket and move it to the right side of your mat in preparation for the second side. Bring your feet together and pick up your bottom and move it way over to the left and drop your knees over to the right, placing the blanket in the position that gives you some support but not too much. Change this and cross the left leg over if you want to deepen the pose. Perhaps draw your knees a little higher towards your right hand and make sure that your right hand as well as your left is nice and soft. Whenever I come into this pose, I always need to shift my bottom over again even more. So if you need to push your feet down, pick your bottom up, move it more to the left. And even adjust your rib cage by pressing your right elbow down. Pick the right ribs up, move them closer to that right elbow so that you can then soften the left shoulder down. Now soften your arms, your shoulders, your neck, your face.
and then come to your feet. Sometimes we forget that our feet are slightly engaged. Really release all the muscles around your feet. Then your legs, then your hips, and your lower back. Your waist, your abs. Feel free here to close your eyes. And we'll stay here for a good minute more.
So again, a person with a balanced and healthy Sahasrara Chakra has a sense of completeness and of joy and security. We're able to absorb information, if this chakra is balanced, and form healthy perspectives and insights. The person with a balanced crown chakra feels free to question their beliefs, constantly expanding the level of self-awareness and self-reflection. We're released from ego-driven desires and become more open-minded, intelligent, and aware. Our prejudices disappear as we become more aware of the world and its connection with ourselves. We know and trust that we are guided in all that we do. And this bit is very important. We see divinity in everyone and everything. We liberate the spirit without getting lost or ungrounded. Now slowly make your way out of this very deep twist by pushing your feet down and bringing your legs up. Soles of the feet to the floor. Shift your bottom back to center. Our final yin pose is Eye of the Needle. So from here, pick your right leg up, turn the knee out to the side, and rest the outside of the shin onto the shelf of your left thigh, just below the knee. Then pick up both of your legs and interlace your fingers behind the back of your left thigh. If you find this leg is too far away, get your strap and bring it around the back of the leg and hold onto your strap. Now, if we were doing this in a hatha class, I would ask you to engage your legs, but in yin, no. Soften your feet, both feet, and gently perhaps draw that left knee in a little closer towards your left shoulder, or maybe even a little more out to the left, and that will increase the target stretch in this pose, which is, I think you're probably feeling it, the outside of the right hip. Soften your arms and your shoulders as much as you can. And make sure that that left leg is very relaxed. You haven't got the foot up. You're going to stay here for about 2 more minutes. Release your abdominal muscles. If you feel like your left hip is slightly hitched up towards your left armpit, just draw it a little bit more away towards the front of your mat. And then try and be still here. Even if you don't feel any obvious stretching in the outside of the right hip, it's happening. And the duration of time is training the stretch of those muscles to become more permanently elastic. Rest the weight of your head to the floor. You may have noticed here that your breathing is now very light, much lighter compared to the first half of our class. Let it be light. Notice that your lungs are barely being filled now.
stillness, conservation of energy. Let your mind now be fueled to focusing on this pose, on this shape. Continuously softening and relaxing wherever you can. Perhaps now intensifying the stretch a little. Maybe you can bring your left knee a little more over to the left. Now we're going to come to the other side. So release the clasp of your fingers, let your hands slide away from each other. Bring your left foot to the floor, and then bring your right foot down and set up for the other side. When you bring this right leg up and you interlace your fingers, make sure that you change the finger interlace to the non-dominant clasp. You have the other thumb on top. And remember to take your time coming into this pose. You don't come into the full depth at the very beginning. Soften both of your feet, both of your legs. Gently draw your knee in towards your right shoulder and maybe a little more out to the right. But that can happen perhaps in a minute. Soften your face, your jaw. Very, very yin, very passive. Stay here and be still. I'm going to read you a poem which I think very much relates to this chakra. It's by Stanley Kunitz and it's called The Layers. I have walked through many lives, some of them my own, and I am not who I was, though some principle of being abides, from which I struggle not to stray. When I look behind, as I am compelled to look, before I can gather strength to proceed on my journey, I see the milestones dwindling toward the horizon, and the slow fire trailing from the abandoned campsites, over which scavenger angels wheel on heavy wings. Oh, I have made myself a tribe out of my true affections, and my tribe is scattered. How shall the heart be reconciled to the feast of losses? In an arising wind, the manic dust of my friends, those who fell along the way, bitterly stings my face. Yet I turn, exulting somewhat, with my will intact to go wherever I need to go, and every stone on the road precious to me. In my darkest night, when the moon was covered and I roamed through the wreckage, a nimbus-clouded voice directed me. Live in the layers, not on the litter. Though I lack the art to decipher it, no doubt the next chapter in my book of transformations is already written. I am not done with my changes. Now release your fingers, again let your hands just slide away from each other and bring your feet one by one down to the floor. Move your towel around, pick it up in your hands and put it under the back of your head so that you have a nice soft support in Shavasana. Lengthen one leg long down the mat and then the other, making sure that your feet are a distance apart that feels comfortable. Bring your hands to the sides of your body and then out more to the sides with your palms facing up. Make sure that your fingers are loosely curled. Do anything else now to adjust your position so that you're that much more comfortable. Lengthen your t-shirt down your hips if you need to. And then when you've found a place that you can stay for Shavasana, for about a 2-minute rest, be still. Close your eyes. Let your thoughts be light and dreamlike as you soften and relax your entire body. When it's time to come out of Shavasana, I'll let you know by ringing the tincture bells. Until then, give yourself full permission to let go.
Bend your knees one leg at a time, bringing the soles of your feet back in contact with the ground. And roll over onto one side and stay here. I have a quote here from Christina Feldman. If we demand enlightenment, it hides. All that we can do is make ourselves enlightenment prone. We learn to treasure the possibility of awakening in all moments and circumstances, to learn to simplify and cultivate the receptivity of heart that can be touched by profound understanding. We learn to listen deeply and discover stillness amid the movement in our world. Now press down with one hand and then the second as you bring yourself up into a tall, seated position, pressing the crown of your head up towards the ceiling and the sky. Bring your hands into your heart and lower your chin so that it touches your fingertips. Separate your hands and bring your palms down onto your legs. Press down as you raise your chin and open your eyes. Namaste. Thank you very much for practicing yoga with me. I hope that you enjoyed that class. Please feel free to leave any comments or suggestions in the comments box below. And do also have a look at my class description below. If you're interested in becoming a member of my VIP Facebook page, of getting early announcements to classes and tips and discounts to my workshops, please do consider becoming a patron. All the details are there in the class description below this video. Meanwhile, I hope you have a lovely rest of your day or evening, and take care. And I hope very much that this sequence and the teachings from our class today have helped you and given you a bit of a boost to go back into the events of your day, a little uplifted on your road perhaps to enlightenment. Namaste.